life in DC, life in Janesville, just some minor differences, I'm sure. What are the things that are standing out to you about Janesville after coming back from DC?
I think probably one of the big things is the economy right now, with with the way things have been going. Just the unemployment. It's one thing to be in D.C. and to read news articles, to look at charts and graphs on unemployment or job loss. Working with the Department of Agriculture, we have a lot to do with dairy farmers, organic dairy farmers, people hurting across the board. But then it's another to come here and to talk with farmers, to talk with friends who have been laid off because GM closed, to talk with people who graduated, college 1, 2, 3 years ago, and they're maybe still working at a fast food restaurant where their degree is in psychology or criminal justice. So that's been kind of a different transition to go from everything being a statistic to these are real world people that are being affected by what's going on.
Because of your experience of being in DC, you see that, and clearly, that the government has a positive role to play, that there's some things the government can do to help versus being merely distraction. What do you think that a federal, state government can do in this economic situation?
Well,
to help Janesville, for instance.
Well, there's I'm a Democrat. I've worked for all Democrats my entire, adult life, if you want to call it that. I'm only 24. I'll be 25 in 2 days. The government. I'm one of those guys who are. I'm fiscally conservative when it comes to budgets, when it comes to money. Because, looking at my mom right now, she lives off Social Security disability, and seeing someone who's on a limited budget work within their means. I think when you have people like that, I think the government also has an obligation to work within its means and not just borrowing and spending money. But I also believe, though, there's a time when the government needs to go out there and, like the government has been doing at the federal level, extending unemployment benefits. Perhaps making different tax credits available for businesses, especially in Janesville and Rock County. Obviously, I think on a nationwide level, Wisconsin's been rated kind of one of the least, I don't want to say business friendly, but there aren't as many incentives or reasons for businesses to start here. And I think we need to give businesses a reason to come back to Wisconsin, and specifically Janesville and Rock County.
Can you talk a little more about growing up in Janesville? I guess I haven't encountered it.
Yes.
But Janesville is not known for its diversity. Mm-hmm. Did you feel that there was did you have a difficult time growing up? Did it not affect you? Just that part of it?
I think being a black person in America is a different experience no matter where you're from, whether you're from an inner city like Chicago or more of a suburban setting like Janesville. It wasn't on my too heavily on my mind that I was different from other people. Okay. A lot of my friends were.
And the people around you didn't make you feel like you were different.
No, I never felt like I was treated different. Always felt like I was treated with respect and equal to other friends. Obviously, as you get older, middle school, high school, you do run into bigoted people who, for whatever reason, were raised that way or think a different way. And then you kind of have to pause and think, oh, well, I am a little different from everyone else. It's not all rainbows and flowers. But it's, I never felt like an outcast growing up in Janesville. I went through 2 different elementary schools and Franklin Middle School, and graduated from Parker. But I enjoyed growing up here, and hopefully, when I have kids, they'll get to enjoy the same.
Cool. Kind of jumping back to the DC experience, what have you learned in your time there? Because I guess you can say that you learned a lot about bureaucracy, but what have you learned in DC that can be helpful to you in Janesville? Because I've known you a little bit, and it seems like you just have this abundance of energy, and you're back here, and you're enrolled in at UROC?
Yes.
And you're already involved in the student organizations, and what, are you a senator there or something? Or
I used to be, but I've kind of already been working with some of the advisors for the College Democrats group there as well, kind of getting them prepped up for the upcoming election in November.
So you're politically aware and active. So what are the good lessons that you've learned out of being in DC?
Well, I guess some of the good lessons I've learned are just, I guess with the exception of today, being prompt and on time to events. No, I took a lot away from DC. I'd probably say one of the most positive and promising things I took away was just kind of the importance of not networking, but being socially active, being involved, because you can complain all you want about the government or about whether it's construction on the roads. If you're not active and involved, you can't make a difference. If you're quiet and just kind of stand by. So that's kind of been a driving force, but it was multiplied even more being in DC, because when I was out there, I had to do more than just go to work. I also had to go to social functions with either members of Congress or Hill staffers to kind of make those connections with their offices so that we could push our agenda forward in the agricultural area. And so I was almost always working 24 hours on call, 24 hours. But the one thing I took away was just being active. You need to be active if you want to make a change, and if you want to do things that you want to see affected and made different. So that's the big thing I think I took away from DC.
It sounds like everything you do kind of makes you feel more empowered.
Yeah, I mean it's baby steps at first, and then before you know it, you're juggling a calendar of events, and you're just always talking to people, and instead of just waiting for something to happen, you're planning for the next thing down the road.
Cool. Well, Sam, thank you for everything you do, and I look forward to seeing you do more exciting things in Janesville.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you, Yuri.
Thanks.